When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 337, season 14. Today's date is June 8th, 2024, and welcome to the program. On today's program, I'm going to talk about something off topic in a way. It's the last day of game show host Pat Sajak on the game show Wheel of Fortune. I'll talk about my memories of watching the game show. I still do to this day. And talk about Pat Sajak, how he got the job, his biography, and this will be very interesting. I'm going to miss him. It's not going to be the same. Also, I'll talk about a subject I talked about before, long time ago. It's the funny face drink mix. With all those goofy characters. So I'll talk about my memories about them. And like I said before, I did do a podcast episode about them, but not much, but I will talk about it again, So I'll explain after the commercial break. Okay. So right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Welch's Grape Jelly. Okay. And this commercial is from 1973. And I remember those old commercials. They showed takes place in the old days, how they make preserves, like your grandmother made them, like with the big pots. And I don't think my grandmother did that. I'll explain. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
When Grandma made grape jelly, you could smell those simmering grapes everywhere. But Welch's found that if you could smell the grapes, some of the flavor was sneaking out in the steam. So they invented a special way to catch that flavor and put it back into their preserves and jellies. Welch's can't match the love Grandma put into her jellies and preserves, so they settled for a little extra flavor.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Welch's Grape Jelly. I love this product. I really do. The commercial's from 1973. You can find this commercial on YouTube if you'd like to watch it. That's been around for a long, long time. Welch's is... it was called Welch's Food Incorporated. It was founded in Vineland, New Jersey in 1869, a long time ago. They also make grape juice, grape sodas, jams, jellies, fruit snacks, and other flavors, grape cider. They did that. And used to see those commercials all the time. And, I tried grape jellies over the years, and Welch's is my favorite. Smucker's is okay. Kraft used to make those. I'll talk about Kraft on another time. But Welch's is number one in my book. That's so good. I eat it all the time on my toast or my bagel most of the time. Right now, I got to cut down on my sugar, so I don't eat every week. Maybe every 2 weeks, just a little bit. because it's too sweet. It's delicious, but you got to watch it. You don't want I don't want my glucose to go boop up up up. No. I got to watch it. Uh, I don't put it on peanut butter. I've said this before. I don't like peanut butter and jelly. I don't like it together. I like it separate. It sounds odd. So it just tastes funny to me, and also don't do it on wheat bread. It's not good. I don't know what it is. White bread is preferable. White bread, of course. I always have a jelly sandwich. I used to eat them all the time when I was at grade school at Correas Elementary. That was a good snack. Also for fasting. Still do. Also, I make toast. It's perfect. Okay. And so, they come in squeeze bottles too. Remember there were glass jars like that. And then the Flintstones used to advertise it in the 60s. And then, that was very popular. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I said I was going to talk about Pat Sajak's last day at Wheel of Fortune. I will talk about the show and him and my memories of watching Wheel of Fortune. Still do to this day. Also, I'll talk about the Funny Face drink mix, which I've discussed before. That comes up with the subject right now. Before I get started, you're going to notice, like, sometimes I'm going to talk about subjects I've talked about before in previous podcast episodes. Maybe I'm running out of material. In a way, I am. It's kind of hard, because I've done so many. I've done over 300 episodes, and it's tough, to cover that. Something new will pop up, of course, but, I like to go back and talk about it because in case somebody missed it, or they have to go back to the way back in a couple of years ago in my earlier podcast episodes, you could do that. The subject will be repeated, but I'll talk about something if I find something new about it, or I'll just repeat. Let's say, for example, if I would talk about Marshall Field's Weebles, I will do that. Talk about my memories, or Fort City, the shopping center near my old house. I will do that. Movie theaters, banks, bakeries, TV shows that I watched as a kid. I'll do that. So I apologize for that. So that's what makes it a little fresh in a way. Like that. Unless something comes up, but if I see something online or somebody mentions something to me, sends me an email or a text, they'll ask me, why don't you talk about that? And I say, okay, I will do that. I'm going to start now. I'll do that. And that'd be kind of cool. So it sounds like the well is going dry, which means I probably hang it up. No, I don't want to hang it up. I'm having fun. I really am. I'm having a good time. And we'll see how it goes, So, because sometimes I believe most podcasters do that. They talk about subjects that were discussed before. Like, for example, sports. They talk about the White Sox, the Cubs. They talk about the players, and then they talk about it again and again and again and again. That's okay. That's fine. I would do the same for me. Why not? If some people don't like it, that's too bad. Just don't listen, or just they can vent all they want. That's all I hear lately. They just won't stop talking. All right. Anyway, so let's get started. As you know, yesterday it was Pat Sajak's last episode of Wheel of Fortune. I watched it, and it was not very, like a big fanfare. It was just like a normal episode. Him and Vanna came out on stage. Then they started playing. And then they had the contestants. Those three contestants, they're famous because they were on Pat Sajak's last episode. So this is something in their memories that will last for a long, long time. And also Vanna's. And that was taped, but we will still see Pat Sajak over the summer because they'll have reruns. And then they'll have new episodes in September, hosted by Ryan Seacrest. Some people think that he's going to change the format or change the show. They're so scared, things like that. Or I think it'll be the same. I don't think that'll happen. You know, he seems like a nice guy, and he's hosted American Idol. Has he hosted a game show? I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, he's not a. You know, it's the same thing with Bob Barker with Price is Right. You know, when he left, you know, when he retired, Drew Carey took over, and there was so much commotion, so much negativity that he took over. And then after a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, everything simmered down, and he was fine. And so now we're used to him. So we watch The Price is Right. My mother loves that show. I watch it once in a while with her. He's okay, and besides, he's a comedian. He makes everything funny. You know, I like him. I really do. He's good at it. He's excellent. He seems to enjoy the show. So anyway, so back to Wheel of Fortune. Let me give you a brief history about the show, and I'll talk about Pat Sajak. And you know, that's been around since January 6th, 1975. So that they will celebrate probably the 50th anniversary next January, which would be kind of cool. And that was hosted by Chuck Woolery. And they had some, you know, and Susan Stafford. She was the letter turner before Vanna White. And they hosted for quite a while, and then Chuck Woolery left in about 1981, and then Pat Sajak took over. And then they had a daytime version and they had a nighttime version of the show, you know, The Syndicate, which we watch now. I'm not sure when. So I don't know when the daytime version ended, probably in the mid 80s. But you know something? When it premiered, like in 1982 or something like that, it was okay. The ratings were fine. But then all of a sudden, Jeopardy premiered in 1984. And sometimes they were, you know, aired at one after the other. Because usually sometimes Jeopardy aired in the evening, but you know, here in Chicago, it airs at 3:30 in the afternoon, and then Wheel of Fortune ends at 6:30 in the evening. You know, it's a perfect time slot because people come home from work, have dinner, and then they head straight to the TV and watch Wheel of Fortune. Right after, well, they watch the news if they have time. Then they watch the show, and then people have been doing that for over 40 years. And they're used to having Pat Sajak and Vanna White there, you know, and it's still like that today. And so it was kind of weird like that to see. And then Pat Sajak, let me tell you a little bit about him. You know, he was born here in Chicago on October 26, 1946. He graduated from Farragut High School on the west side. Then went to Columbia College, and he was working as a desk clerk at the Palmer House. Yeah. Then he worked at. Then he was a disc jockey during the Vietnam War, and then here's something interesting. What I didn't know, he won a contest on WLS Radio to be a guest teen DJ on Dick Biondi show. I didn't know that. You know, and he was a disc jockey most of the time, and then he did the weather out in Los Angeles. Okay, and then in 1981, when Chuck Woolery left, Merv Griffin, who was in charge, you know, the famous talk show host, asked Pat Sajak, Would you be interested in taking over the duties of Wheel of Fortune from Chuck Woolery? Uh, Sajak was, yeah, he wanted to do it, but the head honcho, Fred Silverman, he did those TV shows in the 70s. He goes, nah, I don't like them. I don't want them. But he relented. So, and so someone else took over his job, Fred Silverman's, got hired. And then Pat Sajak got hired. Then, Then he hosted most of the 80s, Pat Sajak. Then he left and hosted his talk show, which I remembered that. And that premiered like 1989, 1990. I used to watch it. It was okay. It's okay talk show. The audience didn't really care. Didn't, I don't know. They always see him as the host of Wheel of Fortune, not just sit down at a desk and interview guests. He did talk to people on the game show, but they didn't accept it. It lasted about a year, because Johnny Carson was king of the late night talk shows. He was the king still, even though Johnny Carson retired in 1992. So he returned to the show, and he remained there for the rest of the run. So I'm glad he did. People applauded, and they were happy, and they were so... Even Vanna was happy, from what I understood. And then, so, like I said, I watched the show last night. It wasn't very... it was kind of anticlimactic, but it was sad. It really was. I don't know what he's going to do. Probably retire, probably take it easy. I don't know what kind of project he'll be doing. Probably rest. I heard he got sick a few years ago, and maybe he's resting. He has his daughter Maggie on the show. I don't know what involvement she'll have at the moment. Maybe. As for Vanna White, I heard she's going to stick around for about a year or two. And then she'll go bye-bye. We'll see about that. I don't know how she feels about Ryan Seacrest. I don't know. We'll see about that. We have to wait till September. Wait and see. Maybe she'll get sick of it, or that's enough for me. I'm leaving. So she'll stick around for a while. But those two together, Vanna White and Pat Sajak, they have great chemistry. They're wonderful. They won't, but it won't be the same. So it's best that they get new hosts and a new letter turner. I'm sure they'll find somebody. A lot of people complain. They said, well, they're getting a lot of money. Especially Vanna. She just turns the letters and looks glamorous and all that. True, that's true. It's the audience that made them like that, and and the time slots, and it's so powerful because it's a very popular show. It's simple, it's fun to watch. That's what did it. That's why, and then it generates revenue. So and they get raises all the time. So I'm sure they probably offered Pat Sajak a lot of more money just to stay, but I guess he said, nah, that's enough for me. So that was that. So the funny thing is, Wheel of Fortune is it's not one of my favorite game shows. I like game shows. If I had a choice between Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, Price is Right, which they're on now, well, Let's Make a Deal's on. Jeopardy's my favorite. I love that. It's a little more intellectual. It's more fun. A lot of people think it's nerdy. They complain because they don't know about sports and all that. I go to that. It's not the only thing that's important. There's other subjects that is. Sports is fine. If you know it, great. If you know about opera, fine. Everyone has knowledge of different things. Like me. I don't know everything. I'm good at some things. I'm not good at other things. That's how people are. You have to be accepted. You have to be a little more broad-minded. So I wish Pat Sajak good luck. Hope to see him soon in the future. Okay. Right now, I'm going to talk about Funny Face. These characters are funny. So I'll give you a little history about Funny Face, and I'll talk about the drink mixes, the flavors, and its history. So here we go. Funny Face was a brand of a powdered drink mix made by Pillsbury. I think it was sold after that. And then it was in production from 1964 to 1994. Then it did linger on after that, but then it was revived for a while, and then it was gone. And the product name Funny Face was based on by some packaging and advertising of a man. His name was Hal Silverman of the Campbell Mithun Advertising Agency. And each flavor was represented by a cartoon character with a funny face, like that. Now, mind you, this was the 60s, so there were a couple of flavors that might be offensive to people, which I could understand. So, in other words, there was one called Indian Orange and Chinese Cherry. Now, they were around there, but they changed that. And so now Indian Orange just changed to Ali Orange, which I think was cute. It's cute. And Chinese Cherry was Cherry Choo Choo or Choo Choo Cherry. Yeah, Choo Choo Cherry. And there was other flavors, so I have them right here. I'll be right with you. Okay. Here we go. I got them in my photos. It was okay. So first was Goofy Grape. That's a classic. He's a classic. A lot of people remember him. Also was Captain Black Cherry, Freckle Face Lime, Lefty Lemon Lime. That and the others were Loudmouth Punch. I like that. He goes Loudmouth Punch like that. Chili Cherry Cola. And Rootin' Tootin' Raspberry. I like that name. It's funny. There were others, and I'm sure there were others that were created like that. And it was sweetened by a chemical called cyclamate, and it's an artificial sweetener. And they banned that in 1970 because it wasn't with sugar. It makes it sweet. I don't know. Then it was replaced by saccharin, and they got rid of that because it caused cancer in mice. I remember there was a big, huge story like in the 70s. It's like, and the tagline of Funny Face is fun to drink. Remember that? And so that was hilarious like that. Anyway, I'm going to play a commercial for Funny Faces from 1970s. When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. That's the commercial. I played it before. So I'm going to play a commercial for Funny Face from the mid-1970s, just like I said. And when I come back, I'll wrap up the show. Okay? So sit back and relax and just enjoy Funny Face. Okay. Thank you.
When you're hot, you're hot. We got a lot. That's Funny Face.
Look, kids, lots of other sugar-sweetened drink mixes come in a 1-quart size. Sugar-sweetened Funny Face comes in a 2-quart size. That's 1 quart more, and that's a lot when it's hot.
We make 2 whole quarts, and that's a lot. We cool you off when you're hot. That's Funny Face. We're a lot when it's hot.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Funny Face. There was some merchandise involved with that, like T-shirts, mugs. I remember the mugs, yeah, or like maybe pitchers, decanters like that, glass pitchers like that, or like plastic ones. Those are collectible items. You can find them on eBay, and there is a Facebook group of Funny Face, and I do belong to that, and I see all kinds of stuff. and it's amazing, there are a lot of fans, and they loved this when they were kids. Today, you if you want to add sugar to your fruit, to that, like for example, Kool-Aid, and there was Weilers. Remember that? That's up to to the mothers, or both parents. You could watch it, because too much sugar for the kids is they get a little crazy. So you got to watch it, even for adults like that. It makes it sweet because it tastes so good like that. But the products are sold unsweetened, so that's good news. So I personally love it. I really do. I love Kool-Aid. I haven't had Kool-Aid in a long time, but sometimes Kool-Aid, they come in those packages and those big round tubs like that, cans, that is. Weilers went bye-bye. I don't know where it went. I'll talk about that someday. So Funny Face is a great memory, from the 60s and 70s. The reason I don't play the commercial from the 60s might be offensive to some people, so I decided not to do that. It's only fair. You can watch them on YouTube if you like. Anytime, any place. That's up to you. Okay. And so those characters are great. Someone should have made a cartoon series with that. That would have been awesome. But I don't know if it was approached or if nobody thought of it. I don't understand. It would have been great like that. It'd be kind of cool. Maybe I could suggest it, but I doubt it'll happen. Can you imagine the money I would make? Ooh, a lot of money. Okay. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about the last day of Wheel of Fortune, which is Pat Sajak's. Let me start at the beginning. It's Pat Sajak's last episode on Wheel of Fortune. I talked about that. Also, I talk about my memories of Funny Face Drink Mix. Okay. So this podcast will be published later on today. It'll be on apps wherever available: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Overcast, Breaker. Just tap on the apps and tap follow. It'll take you. You'll get a notification of the latest episode, or you can listen to past episodes if you wish. Also, be shared on my blog, www.vanchicagoland.blog. Click on that. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel. Again and again and again and again. I always say, people ask me, where do I find your podcast? Where do I find your podcast? Excuse me. You can find it on YouTube. Type in the search engine, Pete Costanis, Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Either way, click subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Just listen. You can listen to past episodes if you like. There's so many to choose from. It'll take you like an entire day just to go scroll through what I want to talk about. Or people, what people tell me, sometimes when they do an engine search on Google, like any subject, and then boom, there's my podcast about it, and then they go to it and they listen to it. It's happened like that. Also, it'll be shared on my social media accounts: Facebook, X, Reddit, LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and of course, what's that new one? TikTok. I'll be there. So you can find them. You can find them, and someday I'll make a note to tell people that, when you subscribe, it doesn't cost anything. You can listen all you like, So I'm having a great time with this. So that's great. Okay. So, this is Pete Costanis, your host for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I'll probably do another episode tomorrow. Today is a little cloudy. I think it's going to rain, but it's not hot. So thank goodness. So here's bye-bye for me, and here's a little traveling music with Ray Rayner saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.